Good evening to all of you. On behalf of CMA Sri Lanka, let me warmly welcome all of you for the inauguration ceremony of the certificate course in integrated reporting. Founder President and President of CMA Sri Lanka, Professor Lakshman R. Wattavala, Vice President of CMA Sri Lanka, Vice President of CMA Sri Lanka and President of South Asian Federation of Accountants, Mr. H.M. Hennayaka Bandara. The keynote speaker for today's event, Mr. Suresh Gunaratna. Members of the panel of judges and panel of technical evaluators of the CMA Excellence in Integrated Reporting Awards competition. The CEO and the staff of CMA Sri Lanka and all the ladies and gentlemen who are in attendance to witness the inauguration ceremony of the launch of Certificate in Integrated Reporting Awards ceremony, integrated certificate course. I would warmly welcome you for this event. As you all are aware, CMA Sri Lanka has been in the forefront in propagating integrated reporting among Sri Lankan business organizations, ranging from small and medium enterprises to public quoted companies to government institutes. In that process, we introduced the CMA Excellence in Integrated Reporting Awards competition in year 2015 to recognize the efforts taken by the Sri Lankan business organizations to adopt integrated reporting on voluntary basis. Taking that journey to the next level, today the CMA Sri Lanka is launching the certificate course in integrated reporting to assist and guide on the theoretical and practical aspects of integrated reporting for those involved in the preparation of integrated reports. So without taking much time, let me cordially invite Mrs. Darshini Wattavala, the course coordinator of the certificate course in integrated reporting, to speak a few words about the new course. Over to you, Mrs. Darshini.
Thank you, Jinandi. Professor Lakshman R. Wattavala, President of CMA Sri Lanka, Mr. Hennayaka Bandara, President of SAFA and Vice President of CMA Sri Lanka, Mr. Suresh Gunaratna, keynote speaker, ladies and gentlemen. So I too warmly welcome all of you who has joined us today for the ceremonial launching of the Certificate in Integrated Reporting. So as Jinandi also talked briefly, CMA Sri Lanka has taken a lead role in promoting integrated reporting in Sri Lanka. So CMA Sri Lanka has recognized excellence in integrated reporting annually from the year 2015 and has held many workshops and conferences centered around the theme of integrated reporting. So we have now taken one step further in introducing a certificate course in integrated reporting specifically aimed at those preparing integrated reports. The course is also suitable for those wishing to obtain an in-depth understanding of integrated reporting as a whole. So let me talk to you briefly about the course itself. The course will comprehensively cover the fundamental concepts, guiding principles, and the content elements articulated within the International Integrated Reporting Framework, placing emphasis on practical application within an organizational context. We will also have a session on integrated thinking, which is an important and essential aspect when you're relating the story of a company through its integrated report. The course will also guide you on how to implement integrated reporting in your organization, as well as introducing sustainability standards and how to embed the disclosures required by those standards in an integrated report. Last but not least, participants will have to complete a case study that will enable them to apply the learnings from the course in a practical context. So we have an eminent panel of lecturers, and let me introduce you to them. So we have Ishara Dhanansurya, who is the Deputy General Manager of Management Accounting in Dinu, which is a company that you all know, who is actually a Platinum Award winner at the CMA IR competition. Then we have Kusal Nisanka, who is a Senior Vice President of Finance and Administration at the Colombo Stock Exchange and has been a leader in the technical panel of the CMA IR competition from 2016. We also have Tusit Vikrama, who is the Manager of Integrated Reporting and Sustainability at LV Finance, a joint gold winner at the CMA IR competition in 2021. We have also received technical assistance from Professor Graham Terry, an ambassador of the IIRC. And also, we are planning on having several guest lectures by key personalities within the world of integrated reporting to further enhance the course. We will also be using Moodle Classroom to share classroom materials such as presentations and recordings. So you will have all the materials in one platform, making it easier for you as a participant to refer to the relevant material as and when required. And the lectures will be conducted through Zoom. So as this is the first time we are conducting the course, we will be happy to receive participants' constructive feedback, which will help to further improve the course content and delivery going forward. So this is just a brief introduction to the course, and I hope that it will be an enriching learning experience for all participants. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Darshini, for that introductory remarks. Next, I would like to invite the key figure behind all these endeavors, the founder president and the president of CMA Sri Lanka. He is a person who doesn't need any introduction, as the Professor Lakshman R. Watavala name itself is a prominent name, or rather a brand name, in the professional accounting education arena, be it being the former president of CA Sri Lanka or founder of AAT Sri Lanka, CMA Sri Lanka. He has played a yeoman role in this in the development of professional accounting education in Sri Lanka. He has been the key figure in introducing the CMA Excellence in Integrated Reporting Awards competition in 2015, and so far we have been able to hold 7 competitions under his guidance. His never say no attitude made it possible for us to hold the event at some difficult times as well without any interruptions. So without further ado, I would like to invite Professor Lakshman R. Watavala, the founder president and the president of CMA Sri Lanka, to address the gathering. So over to you, sir.
Thank you, Dinandi. Our Vice President of CMA Sri Lanka, Mr. Hennayaka Bandara, and is also the President of the South Asian Federation of Accountants of SAFA. And it's the first time that CMA Sri Lanka has been given this important task, and I'm very happy that our Vice President, Mr. Hennayaka Bandara, has been installed in this position. Then Mr. Suresh Gunaratna, our keynote speaker, I think he is known to all of you, and one who has really played a major role in integrated reporting. So I must indeed thank him for for accepting our invitation to deliver the keynote address at the inauguration of the certificate program in integrated reporting. Then we have our council members, our acting CEO, the participants who are also present here, and also other invitees for this inauguration ceremony. Now, one of the, I think almost most of the important things have been mentioned by the coordinator, Ms. Darshini. So I will not want to speak on that, but I must congratulate them in making things happen. Now, that's the most important thing, because today there is so much of talk, but little things that are happening. I think that is really one of the main characteristics of a professional accountant, either management accountant or chartered accountant. Not only should you put things down in pen and paper or on the computer, but you should be able to make things happen. Now, That's what CMA has been doing, because as Ms. Dinandi mentioned, we started the journey into integrated reporting in 2015. And even with the COVID-19 pandemic, we were able to conduct this uninterrupted. Because what we feel is that we need to recognize those companies that are involved in excellence. So that's one of the main names that we that we do in our CMA Excellence in Integrated Reporting Awards. But connected with it is, of course, we conducted a number of seminars earlier, and a lot of you have been attending those, and we have had key people, key personalities like Professor Mervyn King, the Emeritus Professor of the International Integrated Reporting Council, Professor Ho Yu Ki, who is the chairman of our panel of judges, Professor Graham Terry from South Africa, who is playing a major role in and also ambassador to IIRC, and many others, and our connections with the universities, with the IIRC and others have helped us in this journey that we have been going. And I must also say that the Colombo Stock Exchange has been our supporting partner. Because I'm saying supporting partner because they've been with us for a long time. And most of the companies that enter for this competition are members of the Colombo Stock Exchange. They are public quoted companies, although it is not restricted only to them, but they are the major players because they have a major duty to perform to their stakeholders. Stakeholders are their shareholders, the public, the bankers, and all who are there. So that's one of the main reasons that the Colombo Stock Exchange has been able to get their members to prepare the integrated report. Now, the integrated report is, of course, a normal annual report that one is preparing, but you prepare it in a manner which is recommended by the International Integrated Reporting Council. So I'm sure that all these details would be given in the keynote address of Mr. Suresh Gunaratne, because I must congratulate him because his company, Demos, from the beginning of our competition, they have been the award winners. They've won the gold medal, and last time won the platinum award. So they are people of excellence. They have been doing this, and also one of the pioneers who started integrated reporting in Sri Lanka and were involved with IIRC in the initial round. So that's on the practical side. But in all these areas now, this course has been done. One thing is to maybe to give the new staff who are going into this area, and also those who are already engaged in it, more details of how they can improve their performance. So the details were already given to you by Ms. Darshini, and then the excellent panel of our lecturers with a lot of practical exposure. Because today, integrated reporting, I think everyone will listen to various talks, but unless they do it practically, you will find that it will not be possible to really achieve what we have done. So I'm sure the last, maybe the final, it will end up with a case study where you will be really preparing your own integrated report. I'm sure there will be so many case studies that are available, and you will be able to get the practical aspects of it, which is the most important thing. And as professional accountants, you know that we are not only theory people, that all our education is backed by practical training. Now that's the important thing, and that's why we have been able to not only get good jobs, good salaries, and in today's context, a lot of them are, when I ask them, a lot of them are even going overseas, because they have a ready market overseas. So CMA has been able to provide this platform for everyone, either locally or globally, that you are recognized as a member of the International Federation of Accountants. we are also on par with all the other professional accounting bodies, either in Sri Lanka or overseas. So these are some of the main things that are there. But I want to tell you the most important thing of integrated reporting, which is on value creation. Now, value creation is the crux of the whole thing. So sometimes you might be wondering, if I attend this program, what are the benefits that will be there for me and my company that I am representing? So the value creation, you can do so many things, because today you know that the situation of the country, the amount of money spent in government departments, government ministries, but the value they create is hardly anything. So I think if they are looking at a system change, they should implement integrated reporting in all the state corporations, in the ministries, everywhere, so that then you can see, the public can see what is the value created by these organizations. Now, in the value creation, there are some key areas that one could look at. Of course, that's 6 capitals. If you ask a layman, they will say, if you ask them what the capital is, they will say, oh, my capital is my financial capital that we are having. But integrated reporting has gone further into it and given the true meaning to capital. There are 6 areas of capital: of the manufactured capital, the intellectual capital, human capital, social capital, and relationship capital, and the natural capital. Now, social capital is very important for management accountants, because today we have set up what is called the Cost and Management Accounting Standards Board, and we have put out our initial framework, which is called the Managerial and Societal Costing Framework. Now, there we are again bringing the society, because all of you who are professional accountants will know that ESG, the environment, social, and governance, are today of the greatest importance to the private sector and the public quoted companies and other companies. And the society is of great importance. So society has to be looked after, and this integrated reporting, while looking at it. Now, I was telling you about the societal cost. You would have read in the newspapers. Now, yesterday they reduced the price of fuel by, in some areas by 10, some areas by 20. But ultimately, you see, one of the basic principles in accounting is that you do not take estimated figures. You go on the actuals, because then only that you will be able to know what the actual profit or loss is. But here, I think they have gone on some estimated figures. So that's why, as management accountants today, according to our Cost and Management Accounting Standards Board, all organizations should maintain cost records. Today, even a bakery has to prepare the cost of a product, but if you do not have a record of the material that you are using, the direct labor you are using, ultimately the price that you calculate may be wrong. Even in the transport sector, is the same thing. Even in the electricity sector, it is the same thing, because recently we had a seminar, and when this question was posed to them, because whether proper costing is being done, because this also looks into the efficiency, the productivity of the organization. Because there are a lot of plants which are very inefficient, where the cost of production is very high, but ultimately the final end product will go to the consumer or the society. So that's why societal cost is important, because you should not be burdened, especially when you are in a monopoly situation. They should not be burdened with that. So integrated reporting is a very good concept for everyone. And also that if you learn it, I'm sure that it will greatly help you. Because I'm telling this because CMA Sri Lanka, we have made it mandatory for all our students at the apex level to do what is called the Speechcraft program. Now, when I speak to people and when you say that communication is very important, everyone say, don't worry, we know it. But they really appreciate it and also get the experience only when they come to that class, because they have to make presentations, they will be able to get the leadership skills. So similarly, in this class, I do hope that you will make it a more practical session, where even you can even do certain presentations of the final case study that we are doing, and the ones that are good, we can also publish. We have our journal, we have other the research area where we are publishing. So all these could be done. So I want to thank the committee and the organizers and also the eminent panel for the good work that you all have done. Because we must congratulate you, because this year too we will be conducting the CMA Excellence in Integrated Reporting Awards. We will be announcing it shortly, and I know that most of your companies would be attending. But I find that maybe that we are getting maybe 52 to 54 companies, but I have seen the reports given by the stock exchange saying that there are over 100 companies preparing integrated reports. So as to why they are not submitting it, are they delaying it, or they don't want to say they don't want to do it? So I think they should prepare the report so that then they can improve their reporting, and it will help them. And I think we can get the support of the Colombo Stock Exchange. So if there's another batch that is left out, let them also apply for this, so that then they will be able to see for themselves how they could win, not only be appreciated, maybe where they can win awards, but also they could improve themselves for the future. There have been a lot of changes that are taking place. I will not have any time to say, but I'm sure Mr. Suresh Gunaratne may be able to say some of the developments that are taking place in the IIRC and the integrated reporting. So let me thank all of them. Plus also let me thank all our participants, because we would like you to, at the end of this course, to be experts in integrated reporting. Of course, integrated reporting is not something that you can learn in one day, but it's something that you can improve daily. So that's how, if you look at the history of demos, it will say that, because they have been improving from the day that they started, and they are now not only locally recognized, but globally recognized. So all our companies should go for the global recognition. First the local recognition, then the global recognition, which will help you. So once again, let me thank everyone who has helped, and I do hope that this program would be of great benefit to all those who are attending, and maybe any new any companies, those who are listening, if they want any others to join, certainly we will be in a position to accommodate them so that we can also give the knowledge to them. So thank you very much, and I wish you all the very best.
Thank you very much, Professor, for your insightful speech and sharing your valuable thoughts today with us. Next, we have lined up the keynote speech for today. And in order to deliver the keynote speech for today, we have with us a prominent figure in the adoption of integrated reporting in Sri Lanka, Mr. Suresh Gunaratne. He is a member of the board of directors of Diesel and Motor Engineering PLC, and also he serves as the chief financial officer of DEMO. He has years of experience in adopting integrated reporting, and I'm sure he may have lots of stories to share with us today. So without further ado, I would like to cordially invite Mr. Suresh Gunaratne to deliver his keynote speech on the journey into integrated report. Over to you, Mr. Suresh.
Thank you, Jinandi. Professor Lakshman Vatawala, founder president and current president of CMA Sri Lanka. Mr. Inauguration Bandara, the vice president. Ms. Darshini Vatawala, the course coordinator. Faculty members, and my dear participants, and ladies and gentlemen. If we go back maybe 25, 30 years and look at an annual report, we will find a set of financial numbers, and also there could be a message from the chairman or the CEO, and that is what it was. So if you question to see as to why that would have been so, the answer is possibly going to be that was done to comply with certain statutory requirements. In addition, as a responsibility, the leader of the organization would send a message or give a message. So over the years, these annual reports changed. Then there was the management commentary that came along. That is, people wanted to give more information about the company. There was a CSR report. I remember for demo, we started our report on a one-page write-up on environment in the year 2003, if I remember right. Then came along reporting on corporate governance, sustainability reporting, and so on. So until 2011, what happened was various things got added into the report. But if we question the objective of that, I think the objective was to give more information. So if you question why give more information, perhaps you might say for the sake of transparency. But I would like to ask the question, transparency on its own, without it serving a purpose, what is going to be the use? As directors of the company, because we played a stewardship role, because the shareholders' money was in our hands, we would have put out a financial statement and thought we have discharged our responsibility. And divulging some information at our choice, at our discretion, we thought we discharged the responsibility of stewardship and transparency. That was the thinking until 2011. This is my personal view, and I believe many of us will agree on what I said, perhaps with a few additions to it. But in 2011, something changed. In 2011, what happened was there was a different line of thinking by a group of people that if you're a stakeholder or a shareholder of an organization, whatever information you give has to contribute to making an assessment about the organization. So that's the starting point of, I think, integrated reporting. If I try to see why organizations should adopt integrated reporting, I think an organization, before it finds out how you do an integrated report and what should come in an integrated report, it is very important that the organization understands why should there be an integrated report. I see personally 3 areas that it will deal with, and thereby filling a vacuum that was there. First is the objectivity of the information that we give in an annual report. Because if we do not know why we give the information and what impact it would make, I think we are just wasting paper. So it is very important that we understand why we do an integrated report. So out of the 3 areas that I spoke of, one is to fill the vacuum that was there in our traditional reporting, which I will deal with a little later. Sorry, first, there was a vacuum in the information that was given with regard to objectivity. Second, there was a obligation arising from governance that called for more information than what we used to do. I'll deal with that as well. Then finally, I see integrated reporting as a far more effective way of communicating with people, because the effectiveness of communication gets enhanced in an integrated report rather than supplying information without any objectivity. So let's go back to the vacuum that I was referring to. Before that, I would like you to think about an analogy like this. Look at our own anatomy. We all know it's very complex. If we walk 10 feet, we know how many things work in unison to make us walk 10 feet. Our brain, our heart, our muscles, everything basically. So our anatomy is a very complex thing. It's never the same. Never the same. I would like to draw this parallel with a corporate. I would say a corporate anatomy, although not so complex, is also a very complex thing, because a corporate, to work and deliver the results that it wants, so many things have to work in unison. And that is where integrated reporting comes into play. So when we prepare an integrated report, that's the line of thinking that we should have. The guidelines and all the other guidance is there for you to decide how am I going to do it and what is going to be presented. But the driving force should be why we should do it. So in a corporate, there are so many systems, lot of forces, systems. I think I noted down before I started this conversation. There are so many things that work in unison to make a corporate work. Just give me a moment, please. I think I noted down a paragraph that I wrote in one of the articles. I will read it to you. A corporate entity is a very complex system featuring resources, forces, drivers, interdependencies, links, dynamics, interactions, cultures, and many more facets, operating in an environment where change is a norm. Management of such an entity or a system require knowledge on workings of these subsystems and their interplay. Until the emergence of integrated reporting a few years ago, it was not common for organizations to institutionalize management of these subsystems and interplays, although some of these aspects were managed in silos. Management of human resources and relationships with customers are 2 examples. However, after the advent of IR, businesses have started to look at these relationships as a capital stock that provides inputs for value creation. So, as described just now, corporate is a very complex one. And if we are to do an effective integrated report, it's very important that we understand the interplays within the organization. So I think that will be the most difficult part in doing a successful integrated report. So one would understand that to do an effective integrated report, the involvement of the top is very important, because it is the top management who has a whole panoramic picture of the whole organization and the interplays. If it is limited to the finance department or sustainability department or corporate communication or whatever, that will only see one part of the story. It may not come as one complete story. So it is very important for us to understand the corporate anatomy, and in integrated reporting, we use this term integrated thinking. The integrated thinking of the organization, because it is the integrated thinking that will lead to the trade-offs in decision making, and finally lead to value creation, because in these trade-offs, we trade off one capital for another. So the result is expected to be creation of value in one capital. That is the intention. So if that is the intention, for us to be able to fulfill that, we need to have a very good organization. Otherwise, we will be sacrificing some capital for a lesser gain in another capital. So it's very important that we understand the organization. Right. So that's about that's an important vacuum that integrated reporting has taken on fulfilling or filling up. Then the second reason why I think integrated reporting is important is for reasons of governance. Now that also I see two areas why it is important in terms of governance. First, as directors of the company, we are responsible to all stakeholders. We play a stewardship role. We are accountable to shareholders, but we are stewards of all stakeholders because they trust us. When we are in that position of trusteeship, we have to put out information in an objective manner with regard to all stakeholders so that they understand where the company is heading, what is the company's strategy, is everything aligned to the strategy, and do they have the resources to execute the strategy, and is that strategy a workable one? So there will be so many, more than as much as the shareholder, there will be others who transact with us because they place their trust in us to develop their businesses as well. So from a governance point of view, also it is important. There is another thing. That is when it comes to trade-offs. Now, when we decide on trade-offs, if we only think about, I spend some money today and it will give me this benefit today, is that okay? When it is a trade-off, we need to know the importance of that trade-off. That means we expend one capital, and that expending has to have impacts on short, medium, and long term. So it is important that we assess short, medium, and long term impacts of everything that we do. If we don't do, if we only think about the short term, I think there is a sub-optimization of resources. We all know resources is scarce. Basically, the basis for sustainability is resources. So if we only think of the short term when we expend resources, that is being irresponsible. So integrated reporting supports that as well. Finally, the communication part. When we communicate the holistic picture of the organization, I think the understanding of the organization in the minds of the readers is very much better. I'll just pose a question to you. Imagine, okay, we have very big companies in Sri Lanka. Take one of those companies, strike off all the strategy part, strike off their strength of the capitals, strike off things that we report under integrated reporting, the business model and everything. Give a person in another country, say, let's say, a country that doesn't know Sri Lanka well, let's say Brazil, and ask them to make an assessment of that organization in the short, medium, and long term. Can we do it? I don't think. So if it is John Keel's or Haley's, Atkins Spence, I think we have participants from Atkins Spence. Yes, because we know the history of the organization, okay, we will look at the financial statements, look at our personal knowledge, and we will form some opinion. But for an independent party who doesn't know anything, it's very important that we provide the holistic picture. So from a communication point also, integrated reporting is very important. Now, today I don't think it's my duty to talk about how to prepare an integrated report and what should come in an integrated report, because that is what this certificate course is about. I think that will be with the panel that we have, that will be adequately covered. So let me take you to a few other aspects of integrated reporting. Or let me first talk to you about what DIMO did. So in 2011, before pre-2011 also, as I said, we have been disclosing a lot of information about customers, about suppliers, but the intention was we give more information, as I said before. But when this thinking about integrated reporting came, that gave us a formal approach to do what we wanted to do. Admittedly, we didn't have a very good knowledge about integrated reporting at that time. Nor would I claim now that we know everything about integrated reporting, although we may know something better. But at that time, we got a framework, and that was, something that we really, really liked. Because on one side, we were making a lot of disclosures. Now we are confronted with a framework that we can give that information meaningfully. So that's the beginning of the journey. And at that time, Aruni Rajakarya was the country manager at ACCA. She sent me a mail asking, there is an initiative like this. Would you like to join? I said, of course. And I told our board that we have something like this, and the board there were no questions asked, basically. So, and that's how we started our journey with IIRC. So we became a pilot company, and I think Aruni recommended us as a pilot company. And so we were in the pilot program until the first guideline was published. And thereafter, they formed the business network. Until very recently, we were even today, I think we are part of the business network. The business network will be dissolved soon because the objective for which it has been formed has been achieved. So during this, I must say, DIMO also matured in their thinking. Of course, our association with IIRC helped us a lot because we knew at that time the forward thinking, the thinking that would be come to public, come in to the public in an year or two, we knew at that time. So that gave us a lot of maturity to think on our own. Now, you may know already, IIRC joined hands with the Sustainability Accounting Standards Board, SASB, and formed the Value Reporting Foundation. Because even during the IIRC times, there was this need to form one framework for everything. Because we all know, if you are a bank, I see Indrajit in this, if you are a bank, you need to look at so many guidelines and so many standards to prepare an annual report. So in the world forums also, this is a major concern. They want to unify everything. They want to bring everything in onto one standard. That's the effort, though. I don't know how long it will take. IIRC initiated an action called Corporate Reporting Dialogue. The objective was to unify all these reporting standards. So perhaps, maybe as a result, the corporate reporting dialogue had 6 parties, including GRI, I don't remember everyone. And perhaps as a result of that effort, maybe the Value Reporting Foundation was created. And the Value Reporting Foundation was to harmonize the requirements of sustainability and integrated reporting together and come out with one. Then within no time, because during this full journey, IFRS was also very interested in what's going on with integrated reporting. On and off, they have made various statements supporting integrated thinking. So recently, IFRS Foundation absorbed Value Reporting Foundation, and their thinking is very clear. And if you go to their website and see, they want everyone to follow the current SASB guidelines and VRF guidelines. They have already published an exposure draft on sustainability standards. Sorry, they found International Sustainability Standards Board like IASB, and ISSB has now come up with the draft of the first International Sustainability Standard on general disclosures. So if you read that, you will see all the thinking of integrated reporting is very much there. You will see most of the words that you find in integrated thinking: trade-off, short, medium, and long-term, value of an enterprise. I think it's centered around enterprise value, that whole standard. Business model, value chain, you will see all these things. It may not come in exactly the same way, but it's the thinking cannot go because the thinking is real. It's not hypothetical. So there is a technical readiness working group which consists of personnel from IIRC, SASB, and many other bodies. So they are coming up an integrated standard for all this. You will see more to come very soon. So going forward, integrated reporting is there to stay, or the thinking, then the principles of integrated reporting is there to stay. And as corporates, we need to get ready to ride the journey. So in doing so, I think an area that we can improve now presently is use of technology in integrated thinking, which will filter into integrated reporting. I think that is a topic by itself to discuss. So I would like the participants to take away one or two messages from what I said today. First is to identify why I am doing an integrated report. If you think that companies do integrated reporting to get awards, I don't think that is right, because integrated reports are done world over where there are no competitions. So I don't think we should be doing it for that purpose. I think we should do it for the right purpose. Once you understand why we do, understanding what and how becomes very easy. So it's because it's your own creation. So when you know why, what should come in a report and how we should present, it's automatic. Then the second takeaway I'll leave you with is what I'm going to say now. Second is, I think we have a very good representation here from various companies. I think this is something that we all should get together and do. A company, whether it is big or small, can do a concise report. Because I think we all should get together and bring more meaning to integrated reporting. In giving this message, I will do an analogy that I have been using a few years ago, which is called the Peacock Effect. Because this I learned from one of the seminars I participated at the IIRC. I think somebody mentioned this. And so she was talking about the Peacock Effect, that most of the companies are suffering from Peacock Effect. What it means is that if you take a peacock, you know they have beautiful long feathers. And if we try to find out why, because we all know that peacocks use their feathers to attract peahens. It is said that these long feathers have evolved over a long period of time, because that is used for a good purpose, to regenerate, to make their own kind. And now what has happened for sustenance of its kind later became a problem, because these long feathers made them less agile and made them more attractive to predators. So something that we have worked for their own good is becoming counterproductive to them. So I would like to mention the same thing for our integrated reports also. If we try to make the integrated reports long for the sake of trying to disclose everything that we know, we might lose the purpose. We will lose the usefulness, because we all know people don't have time to be reading a lot of details. People want to take the message in the shortest possible time. So this is something that we all have to get together and do it. Demo as a company has taken some step, but decidedly this year we increased a few pages because we felt that we are not disclosing a few things because of that. But we are very committed to reducing. Actually, number of pages may not mean conciseness. Definitely not. Conciseness is telling you the crux of your story in a very, very strong manner. But the number of pages will only help in making it concise. So I'll leave you with these two messages. Once again, I thank CMA for inviting me today. I wish all the participants good luck. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Suresh Gunaratne, for that interesting and insightful speech on journey into integrated reporting. It was a pleasure listening to you indeed. With that, ladies and gentlemen, let me cordially invite the Vice President of CMA Sri Lanka and the President of the South Asian Federation of Accountants, Mr. H.M. Hennayaka Bandara, who has always been guiding and assisting us in the activities that we have been doing in promoting the integrated reporting in Sri Lanka, to speak a few words today with you. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Janandi. Founder President of CMA, Professor Lakshman Vatavela, Mr. Suresh Gunaratne, keynote speaker, eminent resource persons, distinguished invitees, dear participants, ladies and gentlemen. At the outset, let me thank our President for inviting me to speak a few words on ceremonial inauguration of Certificate in Integrated Reporting Program. I have a dual responsibility. One is to take the accountancy profession across the South Asian region with the support of heads of member bodies, and the other is to promote the management accounting profession in the country in my capacity as the Vice President of CMA. In that context, I would like to thank and congratulate to those who have assisted in formulating this certificate program and the support extended to enable us to launch it this evening. As we have already heard, CMA initiated many activities over the past several years to promote integrated reporting. One of the main such events is the CMA Excellence in Integrated Reporting Awards competition. Several companies, both quoted and unquoted, as well as other organizations, participated in this awards ceremony. I myself have got involved with the annual event from the inception, and happy to mention that Sri Lanka is in the forefront of integrated reporting in the South Asian region and need to be recognized as it is done voluntarily. More importantly, to maintain the credibility, CMA always ensures to engage eminent individuals who are locally and internationally repute and experts on integrated reporting. South Asian Federation of Accountants, SAFA, was set up in 1984, and one of the main objectives of SAFA is to promote the accounting profession in the South Asian region and beyond. Integrated reporting is still a management practice exercised by few companies in the region, including Sri Lanka. However, several companies and organizations in the SAARC countries have taken many initiatives to promote integrated reporting and encourage all corporates to adhere to it. With a view to encourage the adoption of integrated reporting in the South Asian region, SAFA introduced a separate award category under the Best Presented Accounts Awards, which is an important event in the annual calendar of SAFA. Many Sri Lankan companies participated in this competition. The universal adoption of integrated reporting in the future will require a combination of market and regulatory forces. One important market force is the voluntary adoption by companies because they see the benefits of integrated reporting. Therefore, going forward, regulations will be necessary to specify the framework for integrated reporting and what standards should be used for reporting non-financial information. At the same time, accounting firms, rating agencies, and board of directors also have an important role to play in enabling companies to implement integrated reporting. From the corporate governance point of view, in the event investors and the society do not get the rich value that is being created by companies, then there will be an accountability gap which needs to be addressed. Therefore, companies embark in IR adoption should see it from a strategic lens and not from compliance lens to tell a better story about their business model and the value they create for investors in line with management accounting principles in driving the strategy for the organization. Ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, I take this opportunity to thank the companies and other organizations who have taken many initiatives to promote the integrated reporting during the past several years. More importantly, the companies and individuals who have registered to follow the program introduced by CMA to upgrade their knowledge and skills in integrated reporting. Thank you all and stay safe. Over to you, Inandi.
Thank you very much, sir, for that for sharing that valuable thoughts and your encouraging words. Thank you indeed. Next, I would like to invite or rather open the forum for the Q&A session moderated by Mr. Kusal Nisanka, the Senior Vice President, Finance and Administration of the Colombo Stock Exchange, and who happens to be one of the resource persons in conducting the program as well. So, Mr. Kusal, please take over the platform from this point onwards.
Right. Thank you, Dinandi. I think we heard a couple of very great keynote speech from Mr. Suresh Gunaratne. So I would like to ask a couple of questions arising from the panelists as well as from the discussion. I think during his speech, so he was discussing about the integrated thinking and the value creation and everything. So I would like to ask from Mr. Gunaratne now. One of the key aspect of the integrated reporting is like outlook. I think talking about future outlook, especially when it's affect to your organizations. So I think Sri Lankan companies, sometimes we feel that outlook, some companies not properly disclosing those things. So I would like to see what kind of approach companies can adopt disclosing on outlook, especially on challenging times like this.
Yeah. So first, we need to understand what we mean by outlook. To me, it doesn't mean that you need to give an estimate or a forecast. I think what the guideline means by outlook is the knowledge that we have today about the future. So this can come in many areas with regard to, for example, with regard to availability of the quantity and quality of capitals in future. So you can have outlook there. You can have outlook when you talk of sustainability, the impacts that you're going to have. You can discuss your outlook when you talk about your say strategy. You can talk about your outlook when you speak of your businesses. That means your value creation activities. So I think if you start from the question why we do integrated reporting, we will have answers to all these questions. And you need to break this into pieces like I suggested just now. It's not possible for you to write one outlook for the whole company or the whole group, because outlooks now, say for my one capital, the outlook may be very good, whereas for another capital, outlook may not be that good. So I think if you dissect it and take one at a time, you should be able to do a good job. I know it is difficult, say even for demo, it's not easy, but we are not predicting anything by talking about outlook. What we do is the knowledge that we have today, we are disclosing. I hope that answered the question.
Okay.
That you asked.
Okay. Thank you for the answer. And there's a connected question coming from the audience. So that question is nowadays small and large companies facing some cash flow management issues. Now the question is, don't we consider those things in reporting? I think you in your overall question, speech, I think you can find the answer. But if you can give us a specific answer for that. So the answer, if I repeat it, the question. Nowadays, small and large companies facing proper cash flow management and treasury management issues. So don't you consider that while reporting IR?
Yeah. So now just from the question, it's very clear that it is a material matter.
Right.
So now when you now, I didn't today talk of the integrated reporting methodology.
Right.
So I said what and how. So how, if you are trying to answer the how question, first thing that comes is the start of an integrated report is material matters. So the moment if it sounds from the question that these are two material matters, then definitely there has to be a discussion on that and the outlook as well. And what we do about it, all that has to come. It may not have to come in one place, because structuring an integrated report is not an easy thing, because the same information is relevant in 2-3 places. So that is your experience. You need to definitely deal with it because it's a material matter.
Okay, thank you. I think if I can add, because now previous years cash flow and liquidity management may not be an issue, as Mr. Gurunath explains. So those are not material issues previous years. Now this year, that's why the materiality determination is very important. So you have to run this process with the senior management and see what are the things this year materiality you are planning. So those are the things you need to highlight. And then you were talking about this value creation foundation and then the sustainability standard as well. So with that, there's a question. Now, given the development in the international arena about the global convergence of various standards, do you think the companies in Sri Lanka are ready to move for a single set of sustainability standard in some sort of a
I think my personal view is we should seek that. Because imagine, what a lot of things that we need to look at when we do an annual report.
Yeah.
And if it is, so all these things, when there are different things, it makes unnecessarily, it puts a lot of burden on the preparer. I think convergence is what we should look for, because then there is one standard. Imagine we have one standard for everything and we go with that. That's fantastic. To me, I strongly promote that kind of thinking, and we should ask for it.
Yeah, I think, yes, if I can add, so that will be definitely help from the preparer's point of view as well as the readers, users' point of view, both, because preparers is easy to prepare and for the users, easy to understand.
Yes.
Right. Yes. So if audience, if you have more questions, you can send it through the Q&A. Dinali, do we have some more time?
Yes, you can take, yes.
Yeah, I think you were discussing about integrated thinking is the most important thing in IR, one of the important thing. And so that has to be led by the top management, senior management. I think if you can give us a little bit of practically how an organization from top management should communicate down the line this integrated thinking in modern business environment, practically how would do like that.
Yeah. Now, if you look at an organization, if you want something to persist, if you want something to prevail, it's very important that you institutionalize it. Because me going and preaching to somebody that integrated thinking should be there, you can't run organizations like that. So institutionalizing is something very important, and I've been talking about it. I have written a couple of not article things about it also. So what the top management should do is institutionalize it. I'll take an example that I give very often. If you send because this can illustrate the problem very well. If as a company, if we send an employee, if we spend on a training of a customer service employee, now when we train the employee and do a training evaluation form, that should not end there. because that training we have parted with our money. So it should have a short-term impact, medium-term impact, long-term impact. In fact, before the training is done, we should seek what those impacts are. So hypothetically, customer service training, if it is effective, it can improve customer service. If customer service improves, we can, in the medium term, we can use it for our marketing strategy to bring more customers and retain more customers. In the long term, we can do our strategies for expansion on this. So something small, if we effectively do, we can do it, because you can do all these assessments. Otherwise, just for the sake of sending somebody on training to say that this guy has done 100 training hours, what's the point? In fact, so it's sub-optimization of resources. That's what I was talking about. In fact, we all are guilty of that because we don't have a mechanism to do it. But these are the things when integrated thinking, is in companies. So these are the areas that companies will look to technology to solve. So I hope I answered your question.
Okay, thank you. One last question. I think now we can see most of the companies moving on to obtain external assurance on the integrated reporting, and which is not mandatory thing, but there's a trend. So what do you think that the advantage of obtaining external assurance in the integrated reporting process and the reporting?
Yeah, actually, to be very frank, it's only to add credibility.
Okay.
Now, again, if we have an international standard on sustainability or integrated reporting or anything, which is widely adopted and respected, the need for assurance may increase and may reduce also on the other hand, because there's a standard way of doing something and it will be very visible if it is not done that way. So it's only for credibility, nothing else. Because of course, when you do something like that, you might learn a thing or two, but that is not the purpose of doing it. It's just to add credibility, because now at the moment, in the absence of very strong guidelines, say for sustainability, people can report anything. So we still don't have policies now. This year, we for the first time, we introduced accounting policies for non-financial information. So now, once you disclose that such information, the need for credibility enhancement is less, because we are saying this is how we calculate it. So since we are at the initial stages, it will definitely add credibility. Going forward also, I can't say now how it will be, because move away from assurance also might be a risk, because people can think that you can't get an assurance and that is why it is not there. So it's a matter of credibility, actually.
Okay, thank you. So I would like to open to forum to any panelists would like to ask any question for Mr. Gunaratne. There's time, so you can ask a question from Mr. Gunaratne directly. If any panelists would like to ask any question, the floor.
Yes, Kusal, may I actually, it's not a question though, like one of the questions that you posed to Mr. Gunaratne. So like I would also like to add some information to that. Already he answered the question very well. So the question was that while we are having all kinds of other issues, like cash flow management and a lot of other things at SMEs, why can we focus on things like IR? Whether it's good to put resources and other things into IR while we are having cash flow problems. So that was the question I think that was posed, and Mr. Gunaratne answered that very well. So let me also add something to that, the answer, the insight. It's like this. It's like balancing the life. Now, if you look at only work, and if you're only working, and if you're only focused on one aspect, I don't know whether you can have a long life. right? You are not sleeping, you are not eating, you are just only working. Can you leave? You can't. Now, likewise, as Mr. Gunaratna very well told, we have 6 capitals, 6 aspects to look into, right? And the value creation and all. So therefore, if you are, yes, cash flow problems are there, other problems are there, but that's, of course, we have to focus on them while balancing all others. If not, you cannot have a sustainable business. So just one insight I would like to add, because I think the questioner was emphasizing, while we are having a lot of other problems, can we just focus on IR, which is, I think what he meant was is a burden, which I don't think at all. It's a must. It's like balancing your, sorry, it's like balancing your life. So just to add one small insight into Mr. Gunaratna's insights. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Adjwat. Any more panelists would like to ask any question? Yeah.
There is a question from Mr. Indrajit. I think he has put it on the chat, but we may be able to ask it from commercial bank.
Okay, I think Mr. Gunaratna mentioned that the first, when he took the proposal to be part with the IRRC sometime back in, I think, 2011. So the board took very seriously, and they were supportive. And in that line, I think the question asked, the IR to be practical, it is essential that BOD should take it seriously. That means tone from the top. So how should this be done by companies planning to report on IR? That maybe I think companies already not in IR. So how seriously the board should support? Yeah.
Sorry. Okay. Yeah, that's a little difficult question to answer,
Okay.
because what I feel is the need for integrated reporting actually should come from the top. This is here. We are not doing it because somebody likes to do it. Because finally, now if you ask why we do an integrated report at demo, one of the first things is that's a piece of paper that we use to brand ourselves. So the top management should like it. Anybody reading will have a very good opinion about the collective intellect of demo. So I think the first thing is, sorry, I think there is a disturbance from somewhere. Okay.
Inan, you can mute, I think.
I think Mr.
Okay, now should be all right.
Okay, right. Sorry, I missed where I stopped.
You were saying the difficult question to answer.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. So this is actually this is very, very useful for our own branding. So it should come from the top. So if the top doesn't buy this, okay, you can still do it, because as an accountant, you get exposed to most of the aspects of the organization. When you do the annual report itself, you get exposed. But now the strategy and everything is there, that rests on a document is all right. But it's there in the thinking of the top management. It's always better if you have the thinking of the top management. Otherwise, the usefulness of an integrated report may be less, because you are not getting the mind of the leadership, number one. Number two, you have no intention of using that to enhance your own brand equity. Both these have to be there. Otherwise, if you are looking at only communication with stakeholders, yes, that will serve the purpose, but may not fully.
Okay.
I think Dr. Nuwan Gunaratna has posed a question.
Yeah, Dr. Nuwan, you can directly ask the question from Mr. Gunaratna. Yes.
Yes, thank you very much. I'm sorry, I'm not in a position to switch on my camera because I'm without power.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, let me raise this question. Mr. Gunratna, now you know that the International Sustainability Standard Board, that is ISSB, these standards will be based on financial materiality, and especially they emphasize the notion of enterprise value reporting. But in contrast, when it comes to GRI, then they emphasize on the multi-stakeholder approach and the notion of social and environmental materiality.
Yes.
So when these standards are merged, how do you think that the companies can find an alignment between these different standards?
Yeah. So are you talking about sustainability or the IR guideline?
It could be, I think, ultimately, given the developments.
Yeah. So if I try to connect it with the IR guidelines, now if you really look at it, the new standard is revolving around enterprise value. This is my thinking, though. Still, we are at draft level. So if it is revolving around enterprise value, and also there is the terminology that they use about short, medium, and long term, so which was lacking in all the standards. So these two together, enterprise value, short, medium, and long term, I think you will have to use the, we may not call it the 6 capitals, but then that is what you have to use to do it now. Say, one of the cases for integrated reporting is, if you look at the reasons for integrated reporting, justification of future cash flows is one reason why integrated reporting is important. Then corporate valuations, for corporate valuations also, integrated reporting is important, because you need the capitals and wealth creation, what the capitals can contribute in the future to justify your future cash flows. So if you're talking about financial materiality, even in integrated reporting, finally what we do is indirectly now. In integrated reporting, we talk of materiality in value creation. And ISSB is talking about materiality in financial materiality. But finally, there is an intermediary. The capitals are coming as an intermediary. There is no way that you can talk of enterprise value without talking of this intermediary. I don't see the possibility. And also, this is the first, this is the general disclosure. If we are going to talk of enterprise value, we definitely has to, the root, the business model, all that is there in the standard. So basically, they are giving a hint to us that the root is the same. The way we will do might be different, because now the IRC guideline, those now they if you look at their website now, they encourage us to use the SASB and VRF guideline. They encourage it. So when the standard comes, I think they will give a direction. This is my hope, as to whether we should continue using those or how we can, because there has to be some kind of illustration about if they are not encouraging adoption of these two guidelines, there has to be some kind of a direction how we have to talk about enterprise value. So that is where I'm keeping my expectation. Did I answer the question?
Yes, to a great extent. And how about these ISSB and then GRI? Do you find the same sort of alignment between these two as well?
Yeah, that's right. I think I see as a ISSB as a positive improvement on GRI. GRI was on its own. Meaning that cohesiveness wasn't there. I always talk about the cohesiveness of giving information. When I reported on GRI, my thinking was based on my responsibility towards the three, the society, environment, and my economic responsibility. That was the driving force. But now they're talking about sustainability in terms of financial materiality. That makes sense. Finally, even in integrated reporting, the primary purpose is for the shareholders, no? So that's how I look at it. I would like to have your views also, Dr. Gunaratne.
I'm even open just to see, these days we actually engage in a research to analyze, how the companies in Sri Lanka would respond to this international convergence. Still we are deliberating on this. Maybe once a paper is published, we will be able to have more views. It's just the conceptual level, we deliberate on these.
But I don't expect many changes to the draft. Usually these international standards are like that.
Right.
So as far as only thing what I need direction is whether they will continue to encourage everyone to follow the current SASB and VRF, or not SASB, I'm sorry, VRF standards. In the IFRS Foundation website, they are encouraging. If you have 2 minutes, I think I had the message also. I will just read one of the paragraph, the last paragraph of that. It goes like this: ISSB standard will build on existing frameworks and guidance. So companies should continue using CDSB and VRF frameworks as guidance as appropriate. Efforts put into reporting on sustainability matters now is expected to help companies implement the ISSB's standards in the future. So what I expect is if they are not encouraging adoption of VRF guidelines, they should give us some guideline as to how we help to determine enterprise value. Because sustainability alone cannot deliver enterprise value. This is my thinking, though.
All right, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Gunaratne and Dr. Gunaratne. And there's a question I think Mr. Gunaratne already answered. Can IR comment on economic crisis in the country and how it affect the company? I think that again you need to identify your materiality framework. Yeah, I think then you can, if you can identify the material items, so then just matter of reporting and moving on. That's the part of the integrated reporting theory and practice writing. Okay, any more questions?
I think we need to close up now.
Yeah, okay. So thank you, Mr. Gunaratne, for taking to your time and answering all the questions directed by myself and the panelists. Thank you very much. Jinandi, you can, over to you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kusal, for conducting or rather moderating that insightful and interactive question and answer session. And also I must thank all the panelists who were assisting and answering the questions posed by the audience. Thank you very much indeed. So ladies and gentlemen, with that note, we come to the end of the inauguration ceremony. So before winding up, let me propose the vote of thanks. First and foremost, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to the founder president and president of CMA Sri Lanka, Professor Lakshman R. Wattawala, for always taking up the initiative and guiding us on all the activities we have been carrying out in promoting integrated reporting in Sri Lanka. Thank you very much, sir. Next, the Vice President of CMA Sri Lanka and the President of the South Asian Federation of Accountants, Mr. H.M. Hennayaka Bandara, for his valuable contribution provided in the journey of promoting integrated reporting by CMA Sri Lanka. Thank you very much for you, sir. A sincere gratitude is owed to Mr. Suresh Gunaratne for accepting our invitation and delivering the insightful keynote speech on journey into integrated reporting. We are indeed thankful for your insightful speech, sir. Next, I would like to thank the eminent panel of resource persons who will be conducting the lectures for the integrated reporting certificate course, Mrs. Ishara Dhanansurya, Mr. Kusal Nisanka, and Mr. Thusisa Vikrama for accepting our invitation to share your knowledge with us. A special vote of thanks goes to Mrs. Darshini Wattawala, the course coordinator, for undertaking the painstaking task of coordinating the entire program. Thank you, Mrs. Darshini. And also I would like to thank the panel of technical evaluators of the CMA Excellence in Integrated Reporting Awards competition for all the kind assistance they have been providing us to promote integrated reporting in Sri Lanka. Also, I would like to thank Ms. Shanti Maheshwaran, Director, Member Affairs, for coordinating and organizing the inauguration ceremony. And last but not least, a special thanks goes to all the distinguished invitees and ladies and gentlemen who are in attendance at this event. With that note, we have come to the closure of the inauguration ceremony. And I must say, this is not the end of it. This is the beginning of another landmark step taken by CMA Sri Lanka in promoting integrated reporting in Sri Lanka. So I hope it would be an interesting learning experience for all of you. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for your kind participation, and have a pleasant day.
Can you give the next date for the lecture?
It's 20th Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. We will be sending the link.
Okay, thanks. Thank you very much, Dinanti. Thanks to everyone, and especially to Mr. Suresh Gunratna and all the others who have joined us. And I wish everyone a very successful certificate program, a very good start that we have had, and I'm sure that we can carry it towards the end. Thank you, and all the very best to everyone.
Thank you. Keep